You know, whenever you're working and you're wondering, yo, when is it time for me to actually quit my job? How do I know if my business or my passive income streams are going to be able to support me? A lot of folks say, I'm going to quit my job when my income streams or my business actually makes me the same exact amount of money I make for my job. And you might think that's a great idea, but in reality, it's not. And that's why you have the 3X rule, which basically says if you're going to quit your job, make sure you make at least 3 times your income from your business or your passive income stream before you actually do that. And in this video, I'm going to break it down because not just, for example, 3X for the sense of saying, hey, just make 3 times your money, you'll be good. No, it's more like 3X, but you break it down 1X, 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 and all these things account for something different in your income. And in this video, I'm going to break everything down. Now, by the way, when I did this myself, when I was actually working a job full time while I was living at my mom's house, I actually quit my job and I was only really making about 1X. And you might say, Tommy, that's great, right? You got to quit your job. But in reality, that was pretty dumb because it only really worked for me because when I actually quit that job, I was actually able to save a lot more money because I didn't have to spend money on transportation and eating out and all that extra stuff. So it saved me money. So it actually left me with extra money to continue investing. But if you actually go ahead and quit your job and you're making 1X from your business, then you might have to use that money to cover your expenses. Thus, you never actually have any extra money for extra stuff like more investing. So in this video, we're going to break down the 3X rule, how it works, and why you should consider it before you go ahead and quit your job. Now, the first thing, guys, as always, is make sure you actually like this video. On top of that, also, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. I have more videos coming out every single week, so make sure you actually keep up to date with them. Now, here's the first rule when it comes to this whole 3X, okay? We're going to separate the 3X within 1X, 1X, and 1X, okay? So the first part is you need 1 extra income for survival, or what I call, for example, the baseline budget. Now, the idea is, yes, you can have a job where you make $4,000 a month and you want to have what you need to actually live, being able to actually make it from your passive income stream. Now, some folks might want to be more extreme and say, no, I want to make a full $4,000 for survival, a full $4,000 for something else. I'll tell you more about that later in this video. But for the most part, I would say if you want to be able to quit your job a lot faster, the goal is to figure out exactly what your survival number actually is, or your baseline budget, the exact amount of money you actually need to be able to be surviving, all right? Not thriving per se, but to be able to be semi-comfortable in a sense, okay? Now, that basically means you have to take a look at these 4 main expenses, which are usually non-negotiable. Now, what are they exactly? Okay, you have, for example, shelter, utilities, groceries, and transportation. Those are the 4 main expenses. Now, once you run these numbers, let's say, for example, I make $4,000 a month, but in reality, my survival budget with those 4 expenses is about $2,000 a month, meaning, hey, I don't have to worry about anything else really as long as I'm making at least $2,000 a month. That basically means, hey, if I can make $2K a month, right, to survive, that's great. If I make more, that's extra money that's going to be able to go towards investing or towards anything else. That is the idea. So before you quit your job, you want to make sure your passive income stream is at least making you exactly what you need to survive. Now, if you want to be a little more fancy, you could say, yeah, I want to survive, but I also want to include here a few extra things. But you have to know, to be able to raise your income, to make more money, that takes more time, which means you won't quit your job for a little longer. It's all up to you. Now, the second 1X is going to be taxes. You want to be able to make 1X at least for taxes. Now, people say, hey, if you make 4K a month, you also want to make an extra 4K per month just to cover the taxes side. That way, what you actually make is what you keep. The goal is not to, for example, hey, I need 2K a month. I'm going to quit my job when I'm making 2K from passive income because, hey, yeah, that's 2K you're making in income, but you also have to pay taxes on it. Thus, you're not actually bringing home net 2K per month. That is the idea. So the whole idea between this is basically you want to be able to make the money you actually are going to be paying in taxes within your whole income stream. This way, what you actually get to keep is exactly what you need. So far we have survival, that's 1x, and then you also have 1x for taxes. That is the whole idea. Now, whenever I play the taxes game, I always say 30% of my income is going to go towards taxes. Some folks do 40%, some folks do 50%. It's all up to you, but I use a number of 30% because a lot of my income comes from capital gains, okay? So in reality, I'm paying like 20% or so. So I'm actually adjusted for 30% to actually cover the fees that it actually takes to actually prepare my taxes and everything else. But it's all up to you, but I don't recommend you go on the lower side. You always want to go on the higher side when it comes to taxes, because taxes are not a joke. So make sure you have more than enough. And if you actually have to take out money after you're done, like, hey, I saved up 10,000, I only needed 8,000. That's a great problem to have. But if you actually saved up 5,000 and you needed 10,000, that's not a great problem to have whatsoever. Now, the third 1x is going to be 1x for investing. Now, this right here is super important, and here's why. If you go ahead and say, hey, I need $2,000 a month, I need like half extra for taxes, so that's about like what? An extra $1,000 every single month, like $3,000 a month basically in total to cover my survival, to cover the taxes. But you know, if that's all you care about, you tend to forget that, hey, you also need money to continue investing. And remember, everything in investing, the most powerful rule is basically compound interest. If you leave $100 in there and it grows by 10% a year, then you have $110 next year, but then you have 10% of $110, so you're making a lot more than just $10 every single year from compound interest in a sense, right? That's the whole idea. So when you actually quit your job, you want to be able to have money extra to be able to continue your investing ideas, okay? Your investing strategy to continue making more passive income. And why? Because the higher, well, I should say this, okay, guys, the more money you have in passive income, even if it's more than you actually need, it's basically a cushion you actually get, because at a certain point, you're always going to have some drops, okay? If your money is invested, for example, into the stock market drops, well, at least you had a cushion in there to cover that drop. If your money is in real estate and you have some vacancies, well, at least you had more money than you actually needed, and you can kind of be just fine and not have to worry about it. Now, there are some things you can actually do to help you with this whole thing, and that's basically you can have money set aside for emergencies like 6 to 12 months. This way, you're not that worried. And on top of that, not just saying, hey, I need 1x, 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 but you can also say, hey, I need at least like an extra 50% just in case. Now, for me personally, would I go ahead and say, hey, if I'm making $4,000 a month, I need to make 12K in passive income to quit my job? I would say no, that's pretty stupid. And that's basically gonna take you forever to actually get there. What I would say is, hey, I would use a mathematical approach to actually calculate my own numbers, okay? So I would say, hey, all I need is 2K per month for my survival number. So if I'm making 4K, I know, hey, I just need 2K per month for survival, all right? So that's set aside there. On top of that, taxes. Let's just say, hey, I need at least 50% extra for taxes. So that's about an extra $1,000 a month for taxes. Now we're at $3,000. And then I can say, hey, for investing, I want to be able to invest at least like 20% of my money, okay? I don't need to invest 100% or a whole 1x of my income for more investing. That's just a little ridiculous, okay? So I'm saying, hey, an extra 20% of 2,000, that's about $400, okay? But you have to run the figures. I'm doing like quick math here, but you have to understand that whenever you're saying, hey, I'm gonna make $100 per month, right? That's what I need to survive. I want to make 50% extra for taxes. Well, that's like around $150, but 50% of that in taxes is not going to be just $50 off. It's going to be a little bit more, okay? So the idea is you want to run the numbers so they actually make sense. So keep in mind, the whole spirit of this entire rule is basically you want enough money to cover your survival costs, enough money to cover the taxes, and enough money to continue investing, to continue compounding your money and let it grow and grow and grow. This way you build furthermore of a cushion. So for me personally, this rule works great. But again, you don't need to have 1x, 1x, 1x because some people just get kind of crazy. And then you're waiting until you get to 12K a month in income. That takes forever, a bunch of work, and it's probably money you actually don't need to start enjoying and quit your job a lot faster. That is the idea for this video. So guys, comment down below and answer this question, okay? How much money do you need per month to cover your survival number? Remember, that's shelter, groceries, utilities, and transportation, okay? That's 1x. And then how much money are you gonna set aside for taxes? I would recommend about like 30 to 50%, okay? I would probably say 50% extra just in case you actually want to make an income to make sure you actually cover your taxes. On top of that, how much money do you actually want to set aside for investing? Because you cannot stop investing. You have to let your money continue and continue and continue to compound. This way you build a greater cushion. No matter how comfortable you get, continue to invest because you never know what's going to happen. Now, that's basically it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. And by the way, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I'm going to answer this question myself. I would say to survive, I need about $1,000 a month. For taxes, an extra 50%, that's about like $500 extra. And for investing, about an extra 20 to 30 to 50% extra, you just set aside there, okay? That's the whole idea. Why? Because guys, I don't spend that much money. My cost of living is incredibly low, like, and that's amazing. Shout out to God for that. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. The less expenses you actually have, the easier it is to quit a job and just do what you actually want to do. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. And up here is another video. Over here is my face. And as always, long-term team officially out.